Good evening. My name is Cherie.
And I'm Chris.
And we're Technomadia.
And we've been on the road for a long time now.
And
the water now.
You are joining us in what we're calling our last night in the bus, of course, for now.
Yes.
Not last ever, hopefully.
So to fill you in on some of the backstory for some of you who might just be driving by and catching this as a first live broadcast is our bus is a 1961 GM 4106 that we've been living in since...
June of 2011,
yeah.
But we have been on the road. Well, Chris is actually coming up on his 12-year nomadiversary.
April 1st.
And then I joined him shortly thereafter. So we're coming up on 12 years of full-time nomadic travels.
Yeah.
Most of that has been via RV. And last year...
About this time last year.
Almost this time, exactly at this time last year, we bought a boat because we're going to start exploring the Great Loop, which is circumnavigation of the eastern half of the U.S. by intercoastal waterways, canals, the Great Lakes, and the river system. So it's kind of a big loop around the eastern half of the U.S.
And we're going to spread that out over several years.
Which means as it gets cold up north, when it's too cold to boat, we're going to be storing the boat and then moving back into our bus conversion that'll be parked somewhere in the warmth of the south for the winter. So that's the grand plan. That'll be kind of how we travel for the next 5 or so years.
Yes, and so we just now are wrapping up our first major RV trip since we moved into the boat, other than that hurricane evacuation thing.
Little thing.
So yeah, we've been 6 weeks now.
About 6 weeks. We left at the end of January. And we had hoped to do more time this season in the RV, except for the hurricanes and the boat damage that we had to deal with at the end of the year. Kind of kept us in Florida longer than we had originally anticipated. But we were committed to speak at the RV Entrepreneur Summit in Central Texas just a couple weeks ago. So we did what we could to make this bus trip as long as we could.
Yeah, so that was our main goal, getting across the country at a much faster pace than we preferred. But it was a really nice to get back in the RV, to get back to our RVing life, I guess, because we love RVing, we love boating, but we love RVing too. And so now we're here in Texas. We're going to be putting the bus in storage tomorrow morning, and then heading back to driving a long drive back to Miami, back to the boat.
And we asked our patrons, so we do have a patron page over there. It's mostly about community for us, but our patrons get a say in our live cast topics. And they picked the topic they wanted to know. What were some of the things that we've missed about RVing and some of the things that we could do without? So we thought that'd be a fun thing to share on this
last night in the bus. So 6 weeks of reminding ourselves of what we love about RVing and the things we don't so much love.
Because everything has pros and cons, right? Nothing's always a slam dunk 100% awesome. All right, so let's start with some of the things we missed about RVing in general.
And love that now that we're back in it is biggest one is having a yard, is that having green space, having a yard at your site is doesn't come with you don't get that on a boat.
So yeah, we love anchoring out in our boat and having on our own out someplace, but there's nowhere to get off the boat and walk, and unless you get your dinghy to shore, assuming there is a shore to get to. And when you're in a marina, you're walking off onto a dock. And you have usually a boat just, a few feet away from you.
And we absolutely love the water views, and we love being on the water and stuff, but we do like having a yard to step out and go play in.
So that's been awesome in being back to RV life. And I knew in my heart I really loved that about RVing. And now I'm 100% convinced that being able to pull your RV into, there's these home spaces all over the country that are made just to pull our RVs into, to be at home and be surrounded by a different surrounding every single time.
And that's the kind of RV spots that we're really drawn to. Is we don't like the RV parks where you're slotted in with maybe just a 10 feet of yard. We like state parks and national parks and Corps of Engineer parks and stuff, where your spot, like our spot here, is probably a 1/4 acre of just woods. And we've got another RV we can sort of see that way, and another one sort of that way. But it's spread out because we're at a Texas state park, and they are really, really nicely spaced.
And you know what, though? Even with those tight RV parks where you're like 10 or 20 feet from your nearest mirror, that's a lot more space than you get on a marina. So
yeah, it's true.
The
dock is only like 3 feet wide as opposed to 25.
So on that same kind of thought train, I'm going to skip ahead to this one. is a variety of places that you can stay. You know, on the boat, we got anchoring out, or we got marinas, or on a mooring ball. Kind of three choices.
Yeah.
But of course, the surroundings are always different.
Yeah, there's a lot of variety.
However, in an RV, we got choices of big campgrounds, like we're in right now, with, like Chris explained, all this wonderful space around us, and hiking trails nearby, natural features to go and explore nearby. We have RV parks where we might have more amenities, like where the RV Entrepreneur Summit was held at. We had a hot tub there. That was pretty awesome. And then there's overnight stays that you can do. So anything ranging from overnighting in a Walmart parking lot.
Or to Harvest House, where you're staying at a winery or a brewery or a museum and stuff, and you're actually able to stay there overnight, which is pretty sweet.
Hey, you know, we actually did one of each of those on this trip across.
Yeah, a winery, a brewery, and a museum. Yes,
Lots of
love
fun.
Harvest House.
So lots of variety that you can get on the road. And as variety-ophiles, which is what we are at our heart, that really speaks to me. Is some days you're in the mountains, some days you're with a water view, some days
It's been a lot of times since I've been in the mountains, but yeah.
Hill country. Okay,
Yes,
so we're in
hill,
hill country.
Hill country or Texas, not quite mountains, but hills. Some pretty
Yeah,
impressive
definitely
hills.
the variety of places you can stay in RVing rocks.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of rocking,
So the weather is not going to shake you around nearly as much. That's something that we had some pretty big storms on this RV trip, and there are days that we probably wouldn't have wanted to drive and might have postponed a drive, but it's not nearly the sort of big deal it is to have weather and how weather impacts life on a boat. And you don't mess with the weather when you're on a boat.
yeah. So we had a big thundercell move through, and we're at the Entrepreneur Summit in Fredericksburg, Texas, where the lightning was
And
like
there was hail.
There was hail. There was lightning right over us. And some gusty winds that came up, and you just hold up inside. And
Yeah, we didn't have to worry about our bus blowing into an RV across the way.
Usually the winds weren't that bad.
Yes.
Now when we're on our boat and weather kicks up like that, even if we're at a dock, we're out checking our lines. We're constantly keeping watch on our anchor if we're out anchored out. The boat might be rocking so much that it's hard to walk around the boat. So those are things you experience in an RV, and weather, even though it can still be a huge deal, isn't as huge of a deal as it is on the water.
Definitely a bigger deal on the water.
So for weather, I'm voting for RV.
Yeah, that's definitely something. It's
RVs and boats move at different speeds, unless you have a really fast boat, which we don't.
yes, and I guess the upside of that is in the RV we were able to cover the distance from Florida to Texas, well over 1,000 miles, like 1,300 miles, and it's a way faster pace than we wanted to, but still we could make 200 miles in a day.
If we consider it a fast pace to cover 1,300 miles in 2 or 3 weeks, I mean, we technically could have done it in 2 or 3 days. I mean, come on, we could have been not lazy and done it that way.
But still, a big driving day with the RV we consider a 200-mile day, whereas we consider on the boat 20, 30 miles would be a big day, and huge difference in scale.
Yep, to do the Great Loop, which is 6,000 miles, we're going to do that over 5 years because we don't want to rush it. 6,000 miles in an RV, we can do that in 1 year and not feel rushed. So definitely, you can cover more miles in an RV quicker.
Right.
Another thing, especially in the last few years, is RVing is so far for us been far more social, and that's a plus. Mostly, we'll talk about the negative side in a little bit.
Right, but it's there's a great RVing community that we're kind of enmeshed in, and we almost can't get away from it. Anywhere we go, there's stuff happening. There's people who are inviting us to places. There's social things going on, which is mostly really great.
And I don't know if it's just the type of boating that we've done so far, because we've been mostly off season and in disaster areas, but boating hasn't been that social for us yet.
Yeah, we are definitely anticipate that will change. A, as we get to know more people and get more connected, and B, as we get more in sync with other cruisers and out of disaster areas and stuff like that.
So I'm hoping that improves for us. But it was really nice, so I'm talking about the nice part now, to get back into social life with RVing, and there always being people around if you wanted them to be. Especially at the RV Entrepreneur Summit, there was a lot of peers, like-minded people around us to connect with. So that's also been a huge plus for RVing. Now, specifically, some things that we missed about our RV, our vintage conversion bus.
We love our bus, Zephyr, and we've put years of our heart and souls and wallets into making this bus
Ours.
And we haven't had the time to do that sort of level of customization with our boat yet. So stepping back into the bus is like stepping into a comfortable glove or something.
It really was.
It's really just, it feels like home.
It felt immediately just like stepping back into our home when we moved back aboard the bus. Everything just fit us. Everything was where we left it. Everything was what we expected.
And we have all our very custom upgrades. So we've got everything from our big desks with office chairs, which we love having real chairs to sit in, to our projector system, which is, I guess, just slightly out of frame above us, in the projector screen there. So we've got projector screens and movie nights, and the power system, our solar, our inverter, our ability to boost off our power so we can just live off 15 or 20 amps or 30 amps and not even have to think about power in our lithium batteries. It's just, it all works, and we haven't had a chance to do all that kind of level of upgrades to the boat yet. So,
yes. So having our fully fleshed out, we pretty much considered the bus converted.
Yes. Well, although we are already plotting out, like, how can we redo
yeah.
the interior and stuff.
Yeah, there's always
next upgrade.
and also, the plumbing work that we had done a couple of years ago to the bus, the larger holding tanks and everything else is just so comfortable. We do a 7 to 10 night stay at a state park. We don't have full hookups. So, we're living pretty much off of what our tanks can hold, and we can still do abundant showers and not worry about conserving water, because we can do that sort of length without even
thinking about it. Huge tanks. And in RVs, every campground has dump stations too, whereas we found not every marina. Sometimes it can be quite a challenge to find places to have the boat tanks pumped out.
Yes, definitely not having to really stress about dumping our tanks, because
A, our tanks are huge, and B, the dump stations are everywhere.
Yes, so that was definitely another plus for RVing right there. Yeah, so things about our bus is awesome. And
it's fun to drive our bus. Buses, but now the downsides though.
So some things that we could do without about RVing. And I have always been, I don't like travel days. I don't like being in traffic. I don't like being on the road.
But you love being on the water.
I do.
Yeah.
And I love being in new places.
Right.
I've always loved being in new places. I've always hated the motion to get to places.
Yeah. I like driving down the road. I like driving the bus. I like driving in anything.
So I sound like a terrible nomad, and I've done it well for the last 12 years. And I have to admit, taking a break from the high-speed chase feeling of being in an RV going 50, 60 miles per hour, dealing with traffic, dealing with roads with no shoulders, even as a passenger, because it's so bad that I don't even like to drive, even the Mini Cooper. Being back in motion in the bus, I am sometimes a point of terrified being in motion.
And again, the speed of it, they really frown on you driving a bus down the highway at 7 knots. And I would love to be able to go across land at that speed. I mean, you get a chance to see things more. You can appreciate the view. I'm not in a hurry to get anywhere usually, and that is a downside. Is I much prefer the pace of travel on the water, and I wish there was a super slow lane where you could do 7 knots in your land yacht, but they kind of frown on that. You gotta go at least 45 or 55.
But yes, so definitely I prefer the slower pace of travel in the boat. Taking the time to be able to see things around you, to evaluate the risks and challenges ahead of you, and hopefully navigate more. Hopefully not hit submerged channel markers as often. But yes, definitely traveling in the boat is a lot more relaxing. Now,
definitely.
Parking the RV is a lot more relaxing than parking the boat.
Yes, true.
So,
parking versus docking is a big difference there.
Let's see. As more people are hitting the road, and it is true, the RV industry is booming. Just look at the number of YouTube channels now on RVers.
Oh my God, there's so many.
So many amazing people out there sharing their lives and inspiring more people to hit the road. And that's just a small sample of the number of people actually on the road out here. Campgrounds are more booked up. It is harder to get reservations, especially in prime travel times. Getting out of Florida was tough to find reservations on our way out of the state because it was still winter season there, and now it's spring break season, so you're dealing with spring break.
Yeah.
It's always been somewhat challenging in peak seasons, but I can definitely say it's never been this bad.
Yeah, it's getting tougher and tougher in the RV world to fly by the seat of your pants, which is the style we would prefer. And it still can be done, but it's I don't know, it's trickier.
Mm-hmm. And from our side, our own visibility has grown over the years, not necessarily by our intention.
as we speak to our, how many people? 260 YouTube audience.
We love sharing, but it definitely has had some. I mean, we love the people we meet on the road, but it also starts to feel sometimes like there's one campground we went to where, over the course of about 3 days, at least a dozen people recognized us, and each interaction was awesome in and of itself, but it's that accumulation of all 12 that
so in other words, our bus is not stealthy. It's got the big sound of a Detroit two-stroke. It is very, very unique. We didn't make our bus look the way it looks for other people. We did it because we love it, but it's very recognizable when it pulls in any place. And whereas our boat is
a little more stealth.
is a lot more dime a dozen-ish. I mean, it's unique and beautiful and stuff, but it's not going to be recognized at a far distance and in the same way that our bus is. So that kind of trade-off of privacy is a bit.
Well, there's the bus itself, and then there's just us walking around the campground.
Right.
And please don't take this. If you see us walking around a campground or a hiking trail, do say hi. I'm not saying don't.
But it does sometimes get us like we wish we had a cloaking device, and maybe wigs, and we could make our bus look like a bounder for just a couple days sometimes.
But as introverts, and homebodied introverts at that, it does leave us feeling like we can be less at home when we're even at home.
Right.
Because if we step out our door, we have to be prepared that someone's going to is going to greet us.
And usually it's fabulous, and usually it's wonderful.
Fabulous, but it is different than just being able to hang out in your jammies all day.
Yes,
which is
true.
Sometimes our preference.
So that's one of our personal things we noticed stepping back into the RV was the I guess the fame and glory, the ups and downs of it, both. Yeah.
All right, so that's our presentation for the evening. We will be opening up to Q&A, so if you do have Q&As, go ahead and put them in there. I'll try to find them in the chat box. But we did ask our patrons in advance for some questions that they had for us, and told them that they would we answer those first.
Yeah, that's the perk right there.
Bob had asked us, did the bus feel more cramped after the space on the boat? In other words, and specifically, do we miss not having slides? So we did a video on if slides were important or not.
Our boat's 15 feet wide in the living room, and our bus is 8, so twice as wide. And the big living room of the boat is nice, but this feels super comfortable. I mean, we couldn't have as many guests over.
Yeah.
But the bus is a perfect fit for 2 people. We love the size of it.
It is great, and because we usually have a yard to walk outside on, and we can get space that way. When we're on the boat and we're at anchor,
the inside is our space, and so we also we love on the boat having multiple decks and all the different variety of space. So it's like I feel like hanging out on the front deck or a fly bridge or pilot house. We've got so many different rooms, which is nice. The bus doesn't have that, but the rooms the bus has just feel really comfortable.
So it has been very comfortable. There are a couple choke points in the bus, like if one of us is at the fridge getting something out of the fridge, that kind of blocks the entry and exit to the bathroom and the bedroom. So we have to practice a little more patience than we do on the boat.
Mm-hmm. We only have one bathroom here, but I mean that's never really too big of a deal.
Yeah, we do have 2 bathrooms on the boat, which is kind of nice though.
Yeah, certain times.
But by and large, not itching to go out and get an RV with slides.
No.
Okay. One of our patrons asked, so we had done a video last summer about mattresses, and we had shared that we had gotten a Helix mattress, which is a custom-made online order mattress for the bus, right? We're in the bus. And for the boat, we had selected a Zeopedic mattress, which is
Just a cheapy one from Big Lots.
a memory foam mattress. And
Yeah.
this patron was curious as to which mattress we like better now that we've been back in our Helix.
The high end custom ordered one, or the cheapy from a box store.
I'm voting for the cheapy box store one.
That Zeopedic mattress is really quite impressive.
So yes, Big Lots. I think it was like $400 for a 10-inch memory foam mattress. I have loved that thing on the boat, and yes, I have missed it here on the bus. And we might possibly just plan to replace the bus one with the Zeopedic next season.
Believe it or not, it's kind of crazy, but
Yeah.
this is a good mattress. But we just like the Zeopedic. It's really got a great feel. We'll see how the Zeopedic ages over time too. But yes.
Okay. Another patron asked, does Kiki have a preference between the boat or the bus?
When you go back to that yard thing, she loves having a yard to pounce around, and we clip her outside the bus, and that is her heaven on earth. She doesn't get that on the boat. I think she likes the inside of the boat more because there's more space for her to run around and more perches and more places, but she definitely loves the outside of the bus.
For sure. For sure. And Henry, one of our patrons, asked, how are you getting back to Miami and getting all this? So in one of our videos, we showed some of the stuff we packed up to
All
take.
the tech for testing and stuff.
And so how are we all getting that all back to the boat in Miami?
There's a thing called we have a Mini Cooper, and it has wheels, and you can drive it.
So we thought about many different ways of getting back to Miami. Obviously, we're right near an airport in Miami, so we could have just flown back. And we did seriously consider
We
doing
almost
that.
booked tickets, came that close.
And, Kiki flies just fine.
You could get a direct flight, it wasn't too expensive.
Yeah, we could have gotten a direct flight for like $150 a person. I think it was more to fly the cat than it was us, which is crazy. And we could have shipped ahead. So we do have one big tub of technology, so stuff that we test over at Mobile Internet Info Resource Center.
The Mobile Internet Resource Center.
Yeah,
MobileInternetinfo.com, yes. Our work life.
So we're testing routers and boosters and all sorts of gear all the time. So we have a big tub of stuff that needs to go back to the boat for continued testing and
Just to have on hand, yes.
And we could have shipped it out there.
But so we have the Mini Cooper, which has been the Toad for our bus for 6 years now, and once we get the bus out to the Southwest, we ideally probably want a Jeep or some sort of 4x4. So we're tempted to, the Mini is the super base model, doesn't even have cruise control, so it's not a great vehicle for a long road trip.
And I'm not looking forward to the road trip 1 minute.
No, it's not. It's a fun drive, get around car. It's a perfect little practical in the neighborhood car, but it is not a great road trip car. So we were tempted to, get the Mini out here and then sell it here. And we were tempted for a bit. It was like, maybe we just get a Jeep and then drive the Jeep to Miami and stuff. We still like the idea of having a car while we're boating around in Florida, and maybe for this entire season we'll keep the Mini and just kind of hopscotch it around up with us from marina to marina.
Or maybe we sell it when we get out there.
Or maybe we'll sell it. But if we still keep the Mini, then maybe it'll make one final voyage back to reunite with the bus next year because it's already set up to being flat-towed. And then we'll take it out to the desert Southwest and then sell it, get a Jeep, stuff like that. So
we just decided it was gave us a lot more flexibility to not have to have pre-booked flights to leave when we felt like we were ready to leave, in case we had any issues that came up with the bus on the way out or anything like that. So it just felt better to just drive the Mini back.
Yep.
And then we're going to be slowly moving up the coast and doing a couple extended stays, and we can just reposition the Mini up there and actually have local transportation, which we find we kind of like. So we're going to do that for now. Okay.
Other questions
I saved these ones that John and Deb asked because they're deep thinky ones.
Oh yes, these ones.
They're awesome at making us think. So they had asked, if you could go back in time and give your younger self some sage advice, what would you tell yourself to embrace differently about RVing?
And I've kind of been drawing a blank thinking about this. It's I really have a hard time with that.
And I actually wrote a blog post pretty much answering this question a couple of years ago. If you look back on the blog, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago I did it. And I know one of the things that I hit on was the way that I approach community it's different on the road, because you make friends and then you're all gone in different directions the next day or the next week. And then you might see each other again 6 months later, a year later, and it can feel distant in between that time. And sure, you might have social media connections to keep in touch, but it's not the same as that in-depth hangout in person time. And when you live in a community locally somewhere, you have your friends. You have the people that you might go out with every week or even every month who know your story, who you're not starting
It's a
from.
lot more continuous.
So that would be one of the things that I definitely go back in time, because I struggled a lot in the beginning years on with community. And now it's okay. I mean, I still miss that continuity of community, but I'm okay with it now because we've made enough friends on the road that we meet up with.
I wouldn't know what city to pick because all of our friends are scattered and moving. It's all of our closest friends are all fellow nomads, it seems.
Okay, and then they followed up with more thinky questions.
I know.
Okay. How have each of you changed personality-wise since you first hit the road in 2006? You have to have one to this.
It's just tough because I think I've gotten, I guess, a little bit more okay with schedules and stuff. Because
you had to deal with me.
Yeah, but and just also the practicalities of it, because I was very tied to not having a schedule and stuff like that when I hit the road. But sometimes you miss out on things because you don't plan ahead, and having some stakes in the ground and some things that you have the ability to plan around opens up a lot of doors. And so that is definitely something that I've gotten more comfortable with.
Okay, I think for me, I mean, I was very schedule oriented when I met Chris. I pretty much had everything planned out. Now I was good with schedules changing, as long as the overarching mission was on track. I'm an INFJ, if you're familiar with the Myers-Briggs, and that's a typical trait. And I've gotten better with not having schedules. Now, that works out well because now we meet somewhere in the middle
Yes.
where we find this great confluence of setting intentions and having some plans and schedules, but being willing to change them when we need to. So I think we've been able to work better together.
We've definitely merged a lot in our approaches there. We complement each other nicely.
And any further changes since adding boating?
I do feel since adding boating, I guess spread thinner, just because I've got my head in two different houses. But that's more of the not adding boating. It's the trying to keep track of bus and boat in my head and have the mental virtual bus and boat going. But yeah, that's kind of a change. Is just kind of feeling bigger perspective on things.
All right. So I am trying to do the pop-out chat thing here. So we're back now to the regular chat room. So I'm going to scroll through there and see if there is some more questions out there. And some comment on our crud. Yes, we got Summit crud. It's mostly gone, but we do both still have a tickle on our throat.
Yes.
And we have also done a bunch of video recording today. So we've already been talking nonstop for about 4 hours today.
Oh goodness, yes. We're trying to get as much video stuff recorded with the RV before the RV's in storage for six months. So, yes.
There's a question about, Chris, will you do a lithium update? And actually we did one about 1.5 years ago with Nina and Paul. If you look back in the live chat series or go to our lithium page, you'll see the video there. There's
lithium.
really not much else to update on.
Yeah, it's working wonderfully. I guess is the quick little update. It's been really nice to just step into a power system that does everything we want of it, and can't wait to have that sort of equivalent power on our boat.
Mm-hmm. Question is, do I drive the bus? So you heard about me being terrified of driving in general.
You drove a segment of this trip?
But yes.
All of a mile?
A mile, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know how to drive the bus. I have gone to bus driving school. I can parallel park it. I can back it. I feel confident that if I had to, I could. Mm-hmm. It's just that Chris enjoys it. I am terrified of it. So,
yes. But Cherie drove out of a campground while I flew the drone overhead to get some drone shots. So, we can mix it up that way.
Yep. Yes. So let's see if there's any other because there's a bunch of questions coming in. So, I'm going to go to the new questions coming in.
Yeah, so if you ask a question already, we probably aren't going to see it just because there's a lot of stuff in this chat window.
Yes, and also one request is we run the Mobile Internet Resource Center as a living. This is our after hours time, so any mobile internet questions will be skipped over.
Yes, we just did a whole chat session with our
premium members of the site, so
yes.
we do monthly webinars with them of this style. Actually twice a month.
And it's two-way video, and very interactive and stuff. So yeah, if you got internet questions, go to our work site and chime in there.
All right. Doug would like to know what would be the next upgrade to the boat?
Well, we kind of plan our upgrades by serendipity in a lot of ways. So we've got a lot of projects. We were just talking earlier about like really wishing we could find a carpenter to build our desks. I'd like to find somebody to do the bimini work to put some solar up. So it's just a matter of when will we find the right person? And if anybody in Fort Pierce either has a recommendation or is in the Fort Pierce area and wants to work on a project in April, yeah, drop us a line. That might be serendipity talking. So, but the projects will happen when the parts all align.
And we have a whole list of projects on the boat, and we're kind of tired, so we're kind of debating about do we just like put projects off because the boat is pretty much ready to go.
Yep, we're excited to actually finally get to use all our marine electronic upgrades. So I'm very eager to go down the river and use our new radar and sonar and all that fun stuff.
Jana would like to know, what are a couple of your favorite RV memories over the past couple of years that still make you laugh?
Laugh.
That one's going to require thinking.
Laugh. It's interesting. I mean, there's so many. For me, it's the memories are like just the beautiful spots. Like working at the top of a lighthouse in Oregon. Being like, this is my job to sit at the top of a lighthouse. Wow.
Yeah, there's so many memories, and it's hard to go back and think of them on the spot. So maybe we'll come up with something later. What are your short-term Great Loop plans? How far do you anticipate to make it up the coast this spring?
North of Cape Hatteras. By August, get out of the core hurricane zone. So probably up into the Chesapeake-ish area.
Yeah, the goal is to get out of prime hurricane zone by prime hurricane season.
Yes.
So the hurricane season, officially starts June 1st, but it really gets to be peak season sometime in August through the end of like mid-October. So definitely by August, we want to be north of the Cape Hatteras. So I imagine that we will get to at least the South Chesapeake, and that's probably where we will do our exploring until it gets too cold, and then we'll move back into the bus sometime in fall.
So we'll be looking for boat storage somewhere in the Chesapeake area, and then continue from there the season after.
How is packing the Mini? It's mostly packed up by now.
Yeah.
A couple things to go in the morning.
We're relatively organized and just throw stuff in the back, and then throw the cat on the lap, and off we go.
Star would like to know, although you're both young and many years ahead of you together, do you ever think of how your traveling life plans would change if something were to dramatically alter your lives? Yes, of course, everyone should have ideas on how they might change up things, and we've definitely left room for embracing whatever we need to embrace, whatever life throws at us. When my father was ill, one of the biggest advantages was being able to move our house nearby
and be close. It was a very special time. And
to be able to live, not just visit, but to be close by and partake in his caretaking. So it was wonderful. Something were to happen. I've needed major surgery while we've been on the road, and you just found somewhere to live for 6 months, then we're in a super tiny trailer, so post-surgery recovery from major surgery was not going to be fun, so we just lived in a house for a while, for 6 months, while we dealt with that. We got burnt out on RVing once, and so we went and rented someplace for 6 months.
Down in the Virgin Islands, and made it exotic.
So, yes, we don't consider ourselves necessarily RVers or boaters. Those are things that we are doing. But we're just navigating our lives as we best see fit at every twist and turn. And that includes, needing to settle down for medical reasons or business reasons or family caretaking reasons. So whatever life throws at us, we'll do what feels right at that moment. Okay. Chris, would you consider becoming a part-time school bus driver?
I would do just about any job for less than a month just for the fun of the experience. So,
But you don't have a
but I don't
CDL.
I don't have a CDL and I don't have the time. So,
Nor the interest.
yeah, well, actually, it'd be kind of fun to drive a bus for about a week. But yeah, going through all the hoops to get licensed to do that, I don't think I see that really happening.
Nathan wants to know, would you consider touring in the upper Chesapeake? I know a great spot. So much will depend upon how far north we get,
Yeah.
actually, this season.
Yeah, but
And-
eventually we'll get up the upper Chesapeake because that's where the canal across to the Delaware River is. So.
But as far as if we will store there this season or not, it's really just going to depend upon how we feel once we get that far north, and if we feel like we just are ready to find a marina and be still for a couple months and enjoy the last of the season.
Yeah, we don't know whether we're going to be looking to kind of push the season out into October time frame, or we're going to be ready to store in September, or whatever. So we'll be playing that by ear much later, further down the line.
Right. Have you ever been fearful of water or boating? How about safety while you're on the water? Any concerns? And definitely safety is a huge concern. It is a definite step up from RVing. I mean, so many more things can go wrong that can jeopardize your life and your vessel. So it is definitely a concern. You're constantly watching the weather, being very aware of the weather.
But on the other hand, things also happen at a different pace too. So you don't have to worry about somebody swerving into your lane at 70 miles an hour and stuff like that, where you've got literally just a second, and you might even have a chance to do anything about it. So things are different, but it's definitely much more complicated on the water, and we definitely take it very seriously.
Let's see, is Captain Jesse would like to know, do we see ourselves as travelers?
I think so.
Travelers, wanderers, nomads, technomads is the word that we usually choose to use. I mean, we're mobile livers, mobile dwellers, I guess.
Nomads.
Is Zephyr mechanical brakes or air brakes?
Air brakes.
And we also have mini mags.
Yeah, they're spring brakes. They're air brakes with springs for emergencies. So if we lose air pressure, they will engage. And we've experienced what it's like to lose air pressure and have the emergency brakes engage automatically. Not recommended, but it's good to know it works.
Let's see. Any other questions on here? I think
a lot of activity in the chat room. This is a lot of people here.
Do you prefer cooking on Why Not or Zephyr? I like them both.
Yeah, no, we got good kitchens in both.
Yeah, Why Not? Well, they're both kind of in a temporary phase right now. Both of them we have used an induction stovetop, and they're both portable right now. I would like both of them to be built into the cabinetry, into the countertop, so that you're not moving them in and out. So they both have that disadvantage right now. Although Why Not is set up permanently because we have the space there. But cooking in both is comfortable. We have them both very similarly configured. We both have microwave convection ovens in both.
We have grills on both, but the nice thing about Why Not is the grill is always set up, which makes it a lot easier to just say, let's grill something, which on the bus it means, if it's not already set up, we've got to pull it out of storage.
The facilities on Why Not are larger. The convection microwave oven is almost double the capacity as the one that we have here in the bus. The fridge sizes are equal. They're about the same size. In fact, we'll probably be getting the same fridge that we have in the bus to put on the boat.
Because the boat currently has a AC residential fridge, and we'd love to go back to a DC powered one, so it'll be better, more efficient on solar.
And we have instant pots on both, same size. So the cooking subs are pretty much identical. The Why Not has I like the L-shaped space of the kitchen, the galley, sorry, a little bit better there, but both are very comfortable to cook in. It's for our style of cooking, which is keep it simple.
Do you like Jeep Wranglers? Yes. Yeah, well, actually, a two-door Wrangler is probably our current top contender for our next vehicle. But we'll see.
We owned a Wrangler when we lived in the Virgin Islands, and we loved we'd probably get a little two-door one. Smaller, we liked it. We also used to tow our trailers with a Jeep Liberty. So one of the smaller Jeeps on that size as well. But the Wrangler is a top contender to be our next vehicle behind the bus. But that'll probably be next season.
Yep.
Before we get there. Tom would like to know why induction. So.
Oh gosh, well,
That's a whole video.
Yeah. Induction cooking is it's fabulous. It's like all the benefits of gas, but it's electric. It's it's really great to cook on induction.
Mm-hmm. So you can regulate there's no off heat that gets into your small space, which can be very important. You can change the temperature up and down. It's very quick to heat. So yes, it's using power, energy, electric, to heat, but it's very quick to get your pan up to heat to the temperature that you're doing so. So the amount of energy that you need is minimal. So we find it's a great complement for our electrical setup. So we can run it off our batteries and our solar without problem at all.
Yep.
And yeah.
And we've been induction fans ever since we got the bus. That was one of the first upgrades we did.
Yes, we did. Nathan would like to know, would you ever considering Why Not and getting a different boat? We just got Why Not a year ago,
Gosh,
so
yes.
definitely not ready to be considering that.
Yeah,
Why Not's been perfect for our needs.
Yeah,
so
and
far.
if I was able to go back in time before we bought Why Not, I would still say that's a great boat. Get that boat, get that design. We love the Bayliner 4788 for our current mission for the Great Loop. It is such a great setup. When we're done the loop, if we're ever aspiring to cruise the islands or do something else that is more open water, then the Bayliner is not the right choice, and we consider a different boat. But for right now, it's the perfect choice for us.
Nancy would like to know, is it tougher to get groceries on Why Not?
Instacart's been kind of making it easy.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on how far away we are from a grocery store. When we're in Fort Myers, we're 1 block away from the grocery store, so it's super easy.
You just walk right in and walk right out. It was awesome.
So it's just like in RVing. You look at, okay, do I need to drive 20 miles into town to get groceries, which we had to do on one of our stops here in the bus? Or, what are the current circumstances? I don't think it's any more or less difficult. It's just sometimes different. Sometimes we're shuffling in a dinghy.
Yeah,
and
we've had a grocery shop by dinghy before so far. In Miami, we've been using Instacart and just having grocery delivery, particularly when we didn't have a access to the mini and stuff, and just like have groceries delivered right to us, and super convenient.
Anne would like to know, how close are we to having both homes fully stocked so you don't have to move stuff back and forth? I think we're there.
Yeah, no, we actually kind of did that intentionally with this trip. We brought a lot of stuff back to the bus, and so it should be pretty minimal moving back and forth now.
Yeah, we should just have our clothing that we want to move back and forth between.
And even that, we've left enough.
So it should be now just the clothing that we need for the trip between the two vessels.
And whatever tech.
Yep, our bucket of tech. And the cat, of course.
Yes.
Did Why Not sleep well all winter? We're hoping so. She's in Miami, so didn't have to deal with cold.
Yes, and we've had boat sitters on and off.
Yep. So one of our patrons was able to spend part of their time on the boat and give us reports. So that was awesome, knowing that she was being well looked after.
And the security camera's been not showing anything unusual, so hopefully everything's good when we get back there.
Yep. If the bus is parked in the sun, will you keep your AC on?
We're getting actually covered storage.
You think
for the
you're
bus?
talking about for storage?
Yeah.
So we're actually the bus will be going into its own enclosed barn, basically.
Just because there's such a chance of hail in Texas, we don't want to take a chance of the bus. The metal roof would actually survive hail really well, but we don't want a hailstorm to puncture one of the vents and then let water get in, and it's just we'll pay extra for more secure storage because we're not going to be around to check on it.
Okay, are you considering forward-looking 3D sonar to avoid future surprises underwater? And we actually did install that.
Yes, we have a forward scan sonar that we're eager to start trying out.
Yep. Yeah. Once we get back on the boat, we hope to share with you guys the electronics upgrades that we did while we were on the Heart. We would have done that beforehand, but we really haven't had a chance to play with it yet.
We've gone all of 1 nautical mile with our new electronics installed.
Yes, so let us get a handle on everything, and then we'll give you guys a proper introduction to it all. Skier Doodle would like to know if you guys, if that's mobile internet, we're going to...
no internet questions.
Yep, check out our mobile internet info.com, our news center. We actually did one on SpaceX, and we have a separate mobile internet resource center video channel that we cover all of our mobile internet
Yes.
topics on. So go over there.
Yep. Yeah, we have a video on SpaceX. Just came out a few weeks ago. So.
And if you have questions on mobile internet, we do have a free Facebook group, Internet for RVers and Cruisers, where we address questions there. And of course, our members get our premium, our priority access.
I don't know what the T-Main Computers is, so.
Okay. Nancy asks, I'm planning to drive east and wondering where the best place is to stay. So east is kind of...
East from where?
There's 18,000 campgrounds in the U.S. So
Yeah, it depends where you're starting and where you're heading.
There's all sorts of amazing places.
We have published our personal favorite 12 campgrounds
For
most
every year.
years. So
Yeah,
you
so
can look
go
back at that.
Go check the blog under the RVing section. Look for camp. We do an annual wrap up of our campgrounds. And we've reviewed every campground we stayed at on Campendium. So that's a great place to leave reviews. We love national parks, state parks, Army Corps of Engineer parks, county parks. We love public parks. So that's where our preference is always going to be.
Do you have a washer and dryer on Why Not or Zephyr?
Nothing on Zephyr. Zephyr just didn't have space on a 35-foot RV.
But we have enough space on Zephyr to basically, we almost have, probably could go 3 weeks, maybe even 4 weeks without needing to do laundry. You just pile up a mountain of laundry, go to a laundromat, and you're done. A month of laundry in an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Why Not came with one of those combo washer dryer units. It's like a Splendid, but it's some
It's a
French brand?
French Splendid. It's a very, very weird, barely working washer, but it washes, it just does not dry. Zero drying.
Yeah. So we may one day replace it. It's got a non-vented model in it right now, so the drying just doesn't work. So right now we wash and we use the latest and greatest in solar.
Solar-powered drying.
So we do all our drying up on the flybridge. I've got a line constructed so it's all below visual line so that no one can complain. So we do all our drying outside, and it's kind of nice. I've been enjoying being able to keep up with our wash on board without having to go find laundromats all the time, because that is a little more difficult if we're not in a marina that has them close by.
And even so, even at marinas or campgrounds, it's usually residential style washers and dryers. And I much prefer a laundromat because you can be in and out, and you do 4 loads at once, and the dryers are super fast, the washers are super fast, and you're done.
Mm-hmm. So Nancy, you're asking about Canadian stays. We have never RV'd in Canada,
Nope.
so please let us know what you find, because that is a future adventure for us, and we'd love to know some great places you like.
I'm looking forward to boating. We'll probably be boating in Canada before we get to RV in Canada now, just because of our way our schedule's going to line up. But yes.
Nathan asks, would you guys consider 360-degree drives for Why Not if you had the option?
Oh, so pods. As a pods. That's not something that you can retrofit onto a boat. It's part of the core design. I'd never even heard of it being a possible retrofit for a boat like the 4788. But if we had infinite budget and we were buying a brand new boat, I think most brand new boat designs have switched to Azipods because they have a lot of advantages. But we don't have a budget like that at all right now. So.
Again, for mobile internet questions, please save those for our mobile internet stuff. This is our personal time. So, how much water does Zephyr hold? Fresh water does.
How much fresh water does Zephyr hold? 110 gallons?
I think it's 112 gallons, and the tanks are underneath our bed, so we're constrained by the space underneath our bed. So we have 112 gallons fresh water. We have 130 gallons gray and 70 gallons black Zephyr.
Yeah, our tanks feel huge.
On the boat, since someone will probably ask anyway, we have the Bayliner originally came equipped with 200 gallons of fresh water, but that was reduced down when the bow thruster was put in, because the fresh holder tanks are also underneath the bed. And so to put in the bow thruster, that took away some of the tank space. So we think we have about 130-ish gallons of fresh on board, and we have 45 gallons of black. We do not have a gray tank. All gray water gets thrown overboard or pumped overboard.
Yep. So Reagan wants to know if Kiki's getting enough treats.
Oh yeah. So Reagan, when we back when it was a hurricane, we got to stay next to Reagan,
Kiki,
and
wants to see you get treats.
Reagan took Kiki on she had a folding cart, and took Kiki on a dinner cruise and fed her a whole bunch of treats.
A whole lot of treats.
So Kiki frequently asks about Reagan because Reagan is her favorite person because Reagan gives her lots of treats. So Reagan, here's Kiki just for you.
And here's a treat.
And we're going to give her a treat on camera
Kiki.
just for you.
Kiki, pretend this is Reagan. Oh, there you go.
Kiki, this is from Reagan.
Is she on camera? Yeah, she's below the lens.
Come here, Kiki.
She was in the middle of a nap. I just woke
Kiki's
her
like,
up.
I don't want to eat.
Come
Kiki, have a treat for Reagan.
on. Now she knows what this is. There we go.
There you go. Here you go, Reagan. Kiki got a treat for you. Thank you. Let's see. Do we use surge protectors?
We have a built-in surge protector for the entire bus, and do not have the equivalent for the boat yet.
All right, and this is a great question for beach bums. Do you get much downtime? You work hard producing so much content. And yes, quite frankly, we are sucking right now in the quality of life department. We have been between the hurricane and trying to catch up on work after the hurricane for the time we had to take off for that, and then the boat incident, and Chris having to put so much effort into those repairs, and while I tried to keep the company going. And then we had a book to get out, and then we had the summit to get to speak at.
And then presentations to write, and we've been way too busy to, we could really use some downtime.
We desperately need some downtime. And we love what we do. We love creating content, especially the mobile internet stuff in our work life.
We need more regular downtime, and
so we're trying to put some more balance in our life, some more boundaries between work and play. We just recently, we host the Internet for RVers group, which is our free Facebook group with almost 30,000 members in it now, where we welcome people to ask questions, and we have paid staff members who help us answer them. But we just turned that to the mode where questions don't get automatically posted, so we're no longer getting notifications all the time.
That means we can ignore questions on the weekends, because it was very stressful, particularly for Cherie, to have questions sitting in the group, and then people start giving incorrect answers, and then it's like, it's going off down the wrong tangent.
So by the time we get back to the group, then we're trying to correct people. So it's been working really well for the last month. We've been experimenting with it. So no more questions on weekends. So we're actually taking weekends off of work now. That's huge.
Sort of. We're now doing other work on weekends, but we're going to try to actually stop working on weekends.
Trying to catch up. We've been having to do a lot of testing out here.
Yes.
So no, we definitely are sucking at the
work-life balance.
We're working way too many hours, which is why we're asking. Please, that's why we're skipping over all the internet questions here. Is we're frankly been working too many hours on mobile internet lately.
Do you plan to get the boat into the Great Lakes and into some of the Canadian canals? And that's one of the parts of the Great Loop I'm most looking forward to, is the Canadian canals and going through the Great Lakes, and hopefully we'll spend several seasons there.
Yes. Okay. Laura would like to know, you guys are great, thank you. Any regrets for sharing so much of your personal lives?
Some days.
Definitely when the trolls are out. Definitely. There are days when I wish we could put a cloaking device on the bus and hide out in a campground and just be at home and just be normal, average. We're average, and we consider ourselves normal, average people.
But the thing is we kind of have this idea of flowers and bees and stuff. Is by being out there, cool people find us and come to us, and we meet a lot of people we never would have met otherwise, because they find us because we share so much. Because we're not the type of people who would go approach other cool people. Mm-hmm. Not nearly as often as we should, probably. We're too homebodied, introverted. So being out there like this means cool people find us, and that has been really wonderful.
Yes. But I do wish there were times where I say, we need a break, we need to hide. And it's really hard to. It's really hard to find remote places. We even found one campground where there's only 4 other people there the whole week we're there. And of course,
turns out there's...
It was awesome. It was an amazing experience. A great meetup. Very respectful.
Yeah, he brought us wine and chocolate for Valentine's Day to welcome us to thank us for being in the campground and for all the stuff we shared, which was really nice. But it was like, wow, we couldn't even find a place to hide.
So, yes, there's pros and cons of it. Obviously, we continue to find the pros because we're still here doing it. We do love the connections, like meeting you guys around the campfire the other night. That was amazing. But yeah, there are days. We have control though over. We know when not to share.
Mm-hmm.
We know when we need to take a break, and we know that when to go a little more generic. We know when not to announce our location.
Yeah, we've gotten into the being more strict about announcing that we've arrived at a campground the day we leave.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just to kind of have a little bit more control out of people going out of their way to stalk us, as opposed to serendipitously meeting us. So.
Lotus Petal would like to know what zincs is Wynette equipped with for the journey from salt to brine to fresh. So we are going to be all saltwater for this season. So we are equipped with aluminum zincs right now.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, as we get up into freshwater, we might switch to magnesium, but
We'll research that.
It hasn't been a concern yet.
Our journey will be slow enough that we should be able to optimize for each type of water that we go to. Someone had also asked if we had plans after the Great Loop to go to the Caribbean. That's going to be in 5 years. I don't have plans for anything 5 years out. Certainly a possibility, but...
Our boat is fairly well suited to the Bahamas, not necessarily for the wider Caribbean. It can do it, or maybe if we're called to it, we'll switch to a different kind of boat. But it's definitely not on our near-term radar.
We're a class act to Karen. Thank you. And Jenny says they hope to meet someday, and definitely, if you feel like we're the type of people that you would enjoy, then we would enjoy you as well. Please do reach out. That's why we do this.
If you notice we're heading in your direction,
just give us a heads up. We love, Laura, and we love getting an email that says, "Hey, we're in the area. I know no expectation, but here's an invitation, and we would love to meet you."
And it doesn't always line up, the time and energy and stuff doesn't work, but some of our best, most magical encounters on the road are when the stars align and we meet somebody really cool. We made new lifelong friends that way.
Yeah, so Laura and Greg, I'm going to share what you sent us, Laura, which was the perfect email. Is, "Hi, we saw you in the campground." I may be paraphrasing. "We saw you in the campground. We love what you do. We already support your work. We're MIA members and patrons. We know you're tired and you've been recovering from this summit crud. I'm going to drop over a bottle of wine later today. And by the way, we're having a campfire this evening. If you want to come over, you are more than welcome, but no obligation." That to me is the most perfect. I mean, you can't get much more perfect than that. You could have said you had a hot tub over there, but we'll forgive you.
Okay, yeah, that.
But we had an amazing time, and we that made us feel extremely comfortable.
But no pressure.
And no pressure.
Yes.
And that's what we love. And so please do that. What we don't like is people just coming up and knocking on our door. We may not be dressed. We may be on a work call. We may be doing a broadcast like this.
Mm-hmm. Yes. If you see us out and about, great. But knocking if there's not an emergency is a little dicey.
Mm-hmm.
And then the kind of invitations we don't like is when somebody says, "Hey, I want you to come over and I want to pick your brain, or I want your help with something, and I want to get to know us first before you start picking." Please.
Yes.
We share everything we have online, and when we're meeting people for the first time, we just like it to be chill and social, not literally. We've had people show up with a list of 20 questions. Literally 20 questions numbered, and we're like, "Hi, no, we're running away now."
All right, my energy levels are. We're going on an hour now, so I think we're going to. Let's see if there's one more question that we can answer, and then we're probably going to call it a night. We are still recovering from this crud, and I'm definitely feeling my energy.
Yes, and we've got a long drive tomorrow.
And we have a long drive tomorrow. We're putting the boat in bus in storage, and we still have a lot of packing to do.
Yeah, a lot of logistics tomorrow. Then we got to get to Houston, and that's our first stop on our way.
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to take Marie's question. And she asked, "How did we do with Whole30? Do we feel healthier? And did it make you any permanent food changes? So do we look healthier?" Okay, that was crud.
I think being on Whole30 helped us get through the chaos of the boat incident, the hitting the channel marker and having all those repairs.
But the mistake that we made with Whole30, well, we had intentionally planned it so we would be done with it by Thanksgiving. So we knew that we were going into the holidays, but we couldn't have planned the stress of the boat repairs that went on for 5 weeks of living on the hard, and then immediately going into holidays.
And then immediately going into this big RV trip.
So we have slacked off on Whole30.
We have slacked off on eating healthy in general.
We're doing pretty well. I mean,
but compared to when we were on Whole30, where it was like every meal we were thinking it through. Now there's a lot of times this is like we just want it simple and easy. We're still trying to keep it reasonable, but yeah.
I am looking forward to getting back. I consider returning to the boat, returning to some routine and normalcy. So, being able to adopt healthier lifestyles, and not being in such a rush, like we have had to be to meet schedules and stuff on this trip. So, we kind of had to let it go. Since August, when the threats of Hurricane Irma became evident.
It's been a busy 6 months.
We've been in chaos mode since Irma, and getting back to the boat, and we have a month-long stay planned for April.
Yeah, looking forward to a nice chill spot for a month, being able to just catch up, be on the water again, floating, no airport right over our head, and just looking forward to that. And looking forward to kind of being back on the loop proper, and we got some social boating time planned ahead of us, and some cool events. So there's a lot of stuff exciting ahead of us, and we're really looking forward to it.
So, yes, back to the boat is. We've kind of just had all this list of stuff we had to get through. The RV Entrepreneur Summer was a big commitment we made.
And it was awesome.
It was awesome. It was worth coming out here for, but it was stressful getting out here and because when we signed up for speaking at the summit, we hadn't planned a hurricane. We hadn't planned the boat repairs.
And we were thinking that we were going to have a much longer RV trip to do it. And just because so much else happened, we had to really compress all of that into a short period of time, which just makes things feel tighter and stressier.
And we were looking forward to having a couple weeks after the summit to relax in the RV.
And now we ended up sick.
We've been sick for the last 2 weeks. So that we're still smiling is a good thing. But we are tired. We are looking forward to getting back to the boat. And getting to that first month-long stay, and hoping that it can be relaxing and we can start to chill out. That's the goal. So thank you guys for joining in us. I am so tired. Thank you for joining us this evening for this live cast. We do have the Patreon. Our patrons do get advance notice when we scheduled this last weekend, so they do get advance notice of that.
They got to help pick the topic.
They can help pick topics and preload some of the questions. We just have $1 is the minimum entry. It's all about community for us. We also host patron two-way video conferences, so we get a chance to get to know you too.
As you notice, there's a lot of names that we're responding to. We're like, oh, we recognize that person because we've had two-way video chats with them, and that's kind of our, again, it's more of, we're trying to meet cool people and not make the patron a big virtual pay us to vlog and stuff. So don't feel pressured to join, but if you want to get to know us better, that's a great way to do it.
Yes. And if you want to support the video, so we have a level that supports these live chats. You get a say in what the live chats are about. And we also have a new level that supports the produced travelogue video. So we love we consider a vote, not really supporting.
Yeah.
One last question is, Chris says he loves our input on both of our sites that we run. What kind of wine could I send as a thanks? Virtual is the easiest because we don't know where we're going to be. So there is a leave a tip button on the bottom of technomadia.com where you can leave a tip. We always appreciate the virtual bottles of wine. If you see us in person, we love dry red wines, Cabernets, Syrahs, Tempranillos.
And unique wines too.
Yes.
Interesting unique wines.
Your favorite wine is also awesome.
That's actually my favorite gift from people is when people give me something that is their favorite for me to try.
Yeah.
That's cool. So, and particularly if they want to share it.
Always amazing to be gifted wine, virtual or real. And awesome. Thank you guys. We will see you next time we have the bandwidth and energy to do this.
Yeah. Yay. Glad YouTube Live worked tonight. Awesome. Okay. End this broadcast.